Everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Decided to take you on a little walk today, and I'm using the GoPro rather than my phone, which I used on my last run, which was super jiggly and probably made a ton of you sick, so apologies. Anyway, on the Galloping Goose, this is a trail that I walk 4 or 5 times a week. I go anywhere from 9 to 18 kilometers on it. It's one of the biggest, well cared for trails, I think, in Victoria. It's one I really enjoy. It actually reminds me a lot of the Camino. Anyway, today, quick video, I want to talk about armchair quarterbacks. And what is an armchair quarterback? Well, an armchair quarterback is someone in your life who wants to give you advice that doesn't actually get off the couch or the armchair. Somebody who is a spectator, but think it's their right and or responsibility to give you advice on what you're doing right and what you're not doing right. Back when I started Think Tank Communications back in 1999, I had been working at Hydro and I left that job. I was unhappy. I worked really hard to try to make a difference, as most young people do. And my bosses, who had been there, 20, 30 years, spent most of their day talking about when they got to retire, dismissed a lot of the initiatives that I came up with. And in hindsight, they were probably working in jobs they didn't really like. And I did learn from them. They sent me on a lot of training, stuff that I trained in back in 99. I still actually use today, including grassroots marketing and that type of thing. But I got frustrated, and so I left a pretty well-paying job with some upward mobility. I'd probably be in a senior position now, or at least on that route at my age. But anyway, I left. And everybody in my life thought it was a bad idea, except for my dad. Now, I lost my dad, 6 years ago. But he was the only one that really thought I wasn't cut out to be a corporate guy, basically because I don't listen well. I think I'm smarter than most people in leadership, which is an asshole thing to say, but I'm being honest as always. And I need to have flexibility. And even jobs I had earlier in my career, BC Hydro was kind of the cherry on the top, but I worked for CUPE, which was the union on campus, and I worked for the Ministry of Transportation and Highways in British Columbia in the sign shop. And I actually got sent away from those jobs because I was pissing off fellow employees because I would show up early, do a little more work than was my responsibility, and they thought I was trying to outshine them. What I was really trying to do is earn the 20, 22, 25 bucks I was making an hour. In today's dollars, probably 45 or 50 bucks an hour. And I was nervous to lose that great paying job, so I worked my ass off, which isn't necessarily the best strategy when you're in a union environment, because you piss off other people that may not share that characteristic. So anyway, when I left Hydro, everyone, all of my judo buddies, all of my friends from university who had actually dreamed of getting that job at Hydro, they thought I was an idiot. And some of them were vocal about it, some were not. And I just remember the contempt on their face, like, you're a fucking idiot. Why would you leave that great job where you don't really have to work that hard and you make great money? You get all the benefits, and we'd have a morning safety meeting, which meant everybody stood around and talked, and if nobody moved, nobody got hurt. So anyway, I'm getting all these criticisms from my armchair quarterback panel, probably 30 or 40 people. My dad says, okay, great time for you to start your business and see what's up. Long story short, 21 years in, it actually worked out pretty good. First year was shit, as it is with most startups. Probably first 5 years was shit. I prepared myself to eat shit for 10 years. And in that first 10 years, I started to tour as a speaker. So I started in 99, started touring in 2003, book deal 2006, book launch 2007. Start licensing Ghost the CEO in 2007 due to the response from the first book. Bought publishing company in 2013, owned that part of the process, and long story short, we are where we are today, which is great. My suggestion to you is when you're going to step out of the norm, you're going to do things that other people think are a bit crazy. I want you to only take advice from people who have done what you want to do. The best way to learn mastery is to source the expertise and the wisdom from somebody who has already mastered it. When I studied judo, I took my instruction from a 6th degree black belt, and so he had been a black belt longer than I had been alive, and so that all worked out. And I never really questioned his advice because he forgot more than I knew. In business, I mean, Andy Grove was nice enough, rest his soul, to mentor me for a year, teaching me about big business. And when you have the CEO of Intel open to having, irregular but regular enough phone conversations to answer questions, like the wisdom that got lost to the business world when he passed away is abnormous. I wish he had written 100 books. But I am of the mindset now, where even I've enjoyed, a substantial level of success, I still get armchair quarterbacks telling me what I'm doing well and what I'm not doing well. Should I tour? Where should I tour? Should I still be touring? Should I still be writing books? I should stay home and write more books. Are my children suffering when I'm gone for a week at a time? How's my relationship? I mean, all of these people that give me advice normally have shitty marriages, shitty kids, and it's not the kids' fault. A ton of shitty parents in the world. Businesses that aren't successful. And when I hear these criticisms, I guess shielded as advice, I always consider the source. Most of the time, the advice is intended not to be ill-spirited, but protective. They're worried that I'm gonna do something wrong and it's gonna hurt things, and they don't want that to happen for me. Some people do the frenemy thing where they jellyfish. If you're not familiar with that term, it's something that my wife educated me on. And a jellyfish is a backhanded compliment, normally from someone who's positioned as a friend. Good morning. And people don't say good morning on the trail. I don't know why. It's okay. I'm not hurt. Jellyfish is kind of a sting, right? They try to sting you. It doesn't cut you, but it's meant to injure. And so that is a rare occasion. Morning. You get those every once in a while, and those are normally from jealous people or people who tell me that I really don't understand business. Even though they're not in business, they're maybe working in a shitty job or something. They were me 21 years ago, and they're frustrated that they haven't made the jump. Thus, they want to create challenges and or have me question my decisions. It doesn't work. The only time I question a decision is when somebody smarter than me gives me some advice, and normally it's actually positioned quite well. I aspire to offer advice like that as well, where they'll say, are you open to hearing an opinion that might differ from your mindset? And I always say yes, if I respect them, and then I listen to what they have to say, and I would say 50% of the time I may rethink my position a little bit, 50% of the time I may not have conveyed all the information I wanted to convey with them. And once we kind of talk it through, I'm actually more reaffirmed with the position I'm making. Anyway, armchair quarterbacks have the ability to throw you off course if you allow them to. So really, only take advice from people that have done what you want to do and can give you the Cliff Notes or the Coles Notes on how to do it better. As always, if you have any questions, you can email chris@GoCEO. You can leave the comments or leave a comment below. Have you had an armchair quarterback that tried to derail you? I'd like to hear about that. And remember, gladiators eat first, and gladiators hang out with gladiators. Don't take comments from people who don't know what the they're doing. See you in the next video.